Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, let me thank Chairman Scott for his leadership and for bringing this exceptional reauthorization to the floor today. Before I begin speaking about this amendment, I'd like to acknowledge the important role that labor unions have played in building the national apprenticeship system. With that in mind, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter from the AFL-CIO in support of H.R. 8294.
Without objection.
And I also wish to emphasize the importance of apprenticeship standards that safeguard apprentices' welfare with unions who have helped negotiate and protect them for many, many years. These standards are critically important to the success of the national apprenticeship system, which is why I introduced the Strengthening Training and Accessibility for New and Diverse Apprenticeships through Relevant and Dependable Standards Act, or the Standards Act for short. I'm pleased that the National Apprenticeship Act of 2020 incorporates my bill, which protects the rights of workers who participate in apprenticeships. The language of this amendment is perfectly clear. It says that grant applicants should partner with an industry or sector partnership and a labor or joint management organization to the extent practicable. Yet interests hostile to unions are once again using scare tactics to claim, falsely, that my amendment will prevent industry organizations from securing apprenticeship grants under the legislation unless, in all cases, they partner with unions, even when there are no unions in the geographic area or part of an industry partnership. This is not what the amendment says. Opponents of this amendment are bending the truth for ideological reasons. They know, and a plain reading of the text makes crystal clear, that this amendment does not mandate that every applicant partner with a union to access grant funding. Full stop. It's asking them to make reasonable efforts to include unions in the sectors and areas where they're carrying out an apprenticeship program, again, to the extent practicable. The National Apprenticeship Act of 2020 includes the Partners Act, led by Representatives Suzanne Bonamici, Drew Ferguson, Susan Davis, and Brett Guthrie. That bipartisan legislation, again included in this act, is built around industry or sector partnerships, which include unions. Despite this, opponents are zeroing in on this amendment, saying it discriminates against apprenticeship programs that don't have union partnerships. Trade associations are arguing the term "to the extent practicable" is legally ambiguous or could be interpreted incorrectly by the incoming Biden administration. Well, let's set the record straight. The term practicable has been used in major legislation for decades. It is in the Bipartisan Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, which was introduced by the ranking Republican on the Education and Labor Subcommittee that has jurisdiction over it. It's used 10 separate times in the bill we're considering. We all know what it means. The attack on this amendment isn't about the requirements for a grant program. It's about the inclusion of the word labor in a bill to be carried out by the U.S. Department of Labor. Anyone who reads this amendment can see clearly what it does, and that this fear-mongering is about a problem that simply does not exist. I urge my colleagues to vote for this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.